didn't even say anything about my hockey pucks.
I think we did talk about how gay hockey was, actually.
No.
Hey guys,
I'm positive Thomas and I.
It wasn't in the sense that hockey's gay.
Guys, welcome to a really gay episode of the Kyle and Thomas Show.
It's a gay day to be here.
We have a very special guest who just came here from Amish country. Y'all give it up for Miles motherfucking Francis.
Stoked to be here. Having a gay time already?
Dude, we have a disaster happen before every episode. Today, my girl's car got towed. First day we recorded a podcast was after that dude's head split open after your show.
Oh, yeah.
And then during the Paxton episode beforehand, we had to hang out with Paxton Bailey for an hour.
Yeah. I like how you made those gradually worse each one.
Yeah.
Really builds.
Rule of threes, baby. We're learning now. Rule of 3 inches. That's the minimum you need.
Cheers.
Oh, shit. But yeah, we already talked about that, how somebody's head split open after your show on our first episode.
God, that was wild.
That was a weird night, man. That was a really weird night. Yeah.
One of the positive memories that I have of that evening was you were on the phone with 911, and I remember you I was trying to get the dude talking, and I was trying to pay attention to Miles to see what he was how that situation was going. And I heard him go, "I'm on hold." And I remember specifically thinking, I was like, we are a first world country.
Yeah, dude. And, can you imagine what they paid if they would have had to get in that ambulance? That's not even free service. Well, I guess the part we got was free service, but it was good. It can be fast, it can be free, or it can be good, people. Those are your options.
0 of 3.
I also just love the idea of stoned-ass Miles on the phone with 911. What's your emergency? Well, man, this guy's head, man, it's just kind of bleeding, maybe. He's just still not
You know how sometimes the little hairs in your weed are so orange they're almost red? That's the color coming out of this guy's head right now.
Hold on, I haven't called 911 yet. I was ordering a pizza.
Hey man, you know how heads don't bleed all the time? This one is.
This one's doing that right now.
This one's doing that one a lot.
It's way more like Call of Duty than I realized it was going to be.
Is he breathing?
Just like Cold Case Files. Just like
I think this guy's about to respawn. Y'all chill.
Is he breathing? I don't think he needs a joint right now, man.
I just start cleaning the wound with bond water.
Oh, dude. Well, you're a podcast hero. How does ours rate on podcasts you've been on so far, dude?
Oh, is this the podcast?
Sound check, Playboy.
Yeah, honestly, you guys missed some solid stuff in the sound check. Shout out, Aaron. No, I love both you guys. I'm actually really stoked to be here. This is an awkward setup, I won't lie. You guys are both not sitting directly next to me, nor at the same height as me. Whoa. And you gave me a rocking chair, and I'm just trying my hardest not to be the Talk to a girl who just basically had her friends just on a rocking chair, and it gave everybody motion sickness and shit.
And you are welcome.
We try to treat our guests like kings, dude. We're your 2 little sex slaves, you know.
We're just the jesters in your court, dude.
Bruh, you think that I would allow my jesters or my sex slaves to wear clothing?
Good. Well,
we kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah,
let's go.
For real, dude. We don't want to be 18 age restricted, dude. We want to reach out to the children.
Oh yeah,
we want to
just
be
like Wu-Tang, baby. This is for the kids.
KATS is for the kids.
Also, this is just the beginning stages. Me and Kyle plan to get big palm fronds and like grapes by the bunch.
Good call. Waiting for winter. I think we'll be able to get them at a discount now. Yeah.
Well, it's because I have a hard time finding the Princess Leia bikini out of Halloween season. So,
Sure.
Yeah, we take a break about halfway through, and you thought we started out wild. Just wait till
I was wondering why you asked me to put on a gold bikini underneath this outfit, but it's fine.
We're just behind on trends. We started a podcast 2 years late. We're just now getting into fidget spinners and whatnot.
I think you guys are 7 years late.
I meant to say 10 years late, but I misspoke, dude.
Yeah, you guys are picking the perfect time for a couple of white comics to get a podcast. That is what the world needs more than anything right now.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, I know we all need validation sometimes.
To white boy. Oh, so you did a Simpsons podcast for what, 5 years or so?
A little over 6 years, actually. Yeah, it was a wild ride, man. I started pretty relatively early in the podcast game, and I did podcasting.
1998.
Yeah, it was just me and a cassette recorder on my shoulder. No,
First
it was
RSS feed was through AOL.
He sent cassette tapes out to people.
That's it. Yeah, and I had an away message up telling you to come find me on the corner to get a cassette tape. But no, I think I started like 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. I was just looking for, looking for something, I guess, like fulfilling in life. And, I found The Simpsons. No, I grew up on The Simpsons. I met somebody through wrestling. I literally went to a wrestling show at AAC. I want to say it was Hell in the Cell, like 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. And then he was doing a wrestling podcast at the time, so I started basically co-hosting with him. And then from there, I'm like, man, this is fun. I want to do this. So I was like, what do I know more than like most people? And it was The Simpsons. I grew up on that shit, and that was a big part of like the foundation of my comedy, or my sense of humor, I should say, in general. We started, me and my best friend Richie, who I know Kyle has met.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Richie, for sure. Yeah, he listens to a lot of podcasts, so I'm sure this is on his list.
Get on it, Richie. Richie, come on the show.
He'd love that, probably, actually. I'll put you all in touch. But, him and I did 6 years, and so I knew nothing about podcasting, and I just was completely self-taught, so there are some really, really rough episodes, especially in the production value early on. But honestly, it was really cool because while I never figured out how to market it well or get people to listen to it on a huge level that paid, I was able to interview a lot of Simpsons writers and a lot of people that worked on the show, nice. Which was really, really cool.
Hell yeah! Did any of them have any interesting things to say that you did not know before while watching The Simpsons? Was there any?
Dude, literally every single one of them. Every single one of them would tell us stuff that we didn't know.
Was there crazy feuds amongst the writers? Was there drama in The Simpsons writing room, dude?
I think there was. So no one got into anything like that. Nothing. No juicy tea of that nature.
Hank Azaria wasn't diddling.
You know what? Dude,
voice?
It's weird to think about. I can't imagine any of the Simpsons writers or the Simpsons voice actors winking. Maybe, I don't know, but they would they do it with their voices?
I was gonna say, dude, getting molested is one thing. Getting molested in a poo voice, that's a hate crime, I think.
That's probably why it got canceled. They just tried to cover it up, being like, yeah, he shouldn't be doing that voice. They're like, no, he shouldn't be raping and doing that voice.
Unlimited Slurpees, dude. Oh shit! So, how does it feel from going to the podcast to interviewing your heroes to being rock bottom here with me and Kyle right now?
No, dude, I used to interview my heroes, and now I'm being interviewed by my heroes. I'm actually trying to get further down rock bottom. Is my new goal in life. Give me a pickaxe. Let me come down where you guys are.
Wallowing in the mud.
Getting mud with the pigs.
With the hogs, dude.
No, dude, I credit that Simpsons podcast for finally giving me the tools or confidence I needed to get into stand-up, because I always wanted to do stand-up, and I never had the balls for it. But one of the Simpsons writers, I actually love telling this story, so I'll take this excuse to do so. One of the Simpsons writers, her name is Carolyn Omine. Still to this day works for the show. Super, super cool lady. She actually came on the show several times. And she was a great interview, but during one of our talks, which was 2 hours long, we talked about the episode Cape Fear, which is it's a movie. The movie's called Cape Fear. Now I'm trying to think if that's the episode as well. I think it is, but it's a Sideshow Bob episode, really famous episode where they end up on a river boat going down, and they get Sideshow Bob to do show tunes. Is how Bart survives. It's really funny. But during that whole conversation, she brought up that basically she's from Hawaii and she'd done all this cool stuff, but the thing that really changed her life was taking, and this is going to be the gayest part of the episode so far, improv comedy classes. So literally, and as she's saying that, I'm getting this trigger in my mind going off where it's that's what you need to do. You need to go do that. So literally, the next day, the very next day, this was back when Dallas Comedy House existed, which doesn't anymore, but they had what's called an improv jam, which is essentially like an open mic for improv, where you just random people go up, they number you off, and you go up and do improv. I had no idea how any of this worked at this point. I go up there, I end up in group number 1, meaning we're supposed to be like the first person on stage, and there's 3 rounds total, but for round 1, I'm group number 1, and I'm waiting for the part where we like go backstage and like talk about what we're about to do. That's how I thought it works. They just start doing stuff, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And like I like kind of like just slowly like sunk into the stage, and before I know it, it was like time to go take a bout. I did nothing, and they drug me out their bout. I was so mortified, super embarrassed. I literally went to my car. I was like ready to leave, but I'm like an hour from this place in traffic, and I basically like had the conversation with myself in the car. It's like, fuck you, don't be a pussy. Get back in there. You drove an hour. You're going to go in there, and if you never do it again ever in your life, you're going to do it for the next 2 rounds. And I went in. I had a shot and a beer, and I smoked a joint outside. I got basically into the loosest mind frame I possibly could. And long story short, honestly, I like my very next scene in round 2. I had this really fun, very funny scene.
Hell yeah.
It was a dude on stage. I'll just say his name was Frank. That's true, but he was a good dude. I don't want to call him out there.
Friend of the show?
Yeah, for sure, Frank. Everyone loves Frank. But honestly, he was playing. I did like a tap out, and he had been talking about board games in the first part. And basically, I came out and we turned it into like he was like a sleazy like street dealer like selling underground board games out of his like trench coat, and it turned into like this hilarious moment, and like I was like that was like the first time I ever got like a laugh on stage, and like boom, hooked. Rest is history.
I was picturing you just doing Simpsons characters the whole time. You're like every time they throw it to you, you're like, homie.
Yeah, just doing voices.
Marge.
Really, dude. Honestly, you're kind of killing the voice game.
I can
already.
only do the names. I go, Marge and homie.
I was
That's
always
it.
really bad at the voices. I could do Marge okay back then with a little bit of practice, but honestly, my dude Richie was really, really brilliant at a lot of the voices, and he's still like just randomly will go into Krusty.
No, go.
sometimes.
Don't be, dude. I don't want you to be humble right now. Your Apu is one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude.
Guys,
Especially when I put on the makeup.
I'm not gonna make him do
really
it right now, but his
together.
Apu is really stellar, dude. He was Apu last Halloween, dude. It's fucking murdered. I'm talking.
That's how you're gonna get me murdered, actually.
No, dude. But improv reminds me of like an orgy where I get the appeal of it, but I could never bring myself to do it because I want to go to heaven.
It's terrible. It's terrible as an art form. As a stand-up comic, it is a incredibly valuable tool.
Yeah, it seems useful. It also seems like it would be fun if you had like if us 3 and a couple homies at improv. That would be fun. It seems like if you did it with your friends, it would be fun. It seems like if you did it with like kind of strangers or like. There's always going to be, like, that one person that everybody hates, like...
You get kind of drawn in. That's absolutely true. There are times where you get into, like, a group and you're like, wow, this guy sucks.
Well, Jerry keeps doing Apu voice every scene, dude.
Every goddamn
He really
scene.
keeps trying to force the Apu.
It's like that episode of The Office where Michael Scott brings a gun
out
every single time. There really are people that are kind of like that, and it's really hard to work around. Honestly, the problem with, like, really funny people in improv is that they are funnier than improv. Literally, one of my first, like, that was just a jam I went to. Like, the next week, I'm taking classes. I ended up taking all the classes they offered before I got, and then I finally got the guts to go do open mics. And then fuck improv. But while I was doing the improv classes and whatnot, I remember one of my very first notes was stop trying to be fun. Like, you're funny, but stop being funny. Like, and it's just like, you're funny, but you're killing the like momentum of everybody else. And I'm just like, well, that's not my fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like,
Why don't I get all the spotlight for myself? Fuck you, gremlins.
yeah. You guys can just like go have a happy hour after work. You don't have to come into my fucking territory.
I was wondering, kind of going back to the Simpsons. Did you have like favorite writers or writers that you like, kind of the episodes that they were kind of like the head writers for, or something like that you were preferred?
Yes.
Or?
Yes. There's definitely. I mean, I kind of love all of the showrunners for different reasons. Like Al Jean is incredible. We did have Al Jean on the show. He literally like was like one of the creating forces of the. I think they said it's one of like 13 names that like. Without those 13 people, The Simpsons doesn't exist. Al's one of those people for sure. And he also is still the showrunner to this day, and he is like just like an encyclopedia. It's wild. He can literally like go through Simpsons episodes in his head and like tell you where jokes happen, and like any of the hundreds, almost 1,000 now episodes of The Simpsons. It's crazy. A really popular answer to that is Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein, who are wonderful, wonderful writers.
Any relation?
They were the only duo. They were the only duo to
Harvey and
showrun. They're only the only duo to showrun, and they are responsible for one of the most popular Simpsons gags ever. Especially recently, it just came around the steamed hams.
Yes.
If y'all are familiar with steamed hams, the Aurora Borealis happening directly in your kitchen right now.
Super Nintendo Chalmers, dude.
Yes, but honestly, for me, it's David Merkin, and he was only the showrunner for one season, which is weird because most of them get at least two. He's also the only stand-up comic who ever did the showrunning job on that show, and his episodes were known to have a little bit of like a darker human tone. Nice. And probably the best example of that is most widely known is he was running the show when they did Deep Space Homer, which is where Homer somehow gets qualified as NASA to go to outer space, and then he ends up not only like opening a bag of potato chips in zero gravity, but also accidentally like letting the ants go free. And then Kent Brockman is like, I hail to our new ant overlords. And then finally the episode ends with Homer this whole time he's just trying to win Employee of the Month. That's like his goal. But the carbon rod that he used to like jam the door shut while they re-entered the atmosphere ended up beating him out for that prestigious award. Great stuff.
I feel really foolish. There's a streetwear clothing guy out here named Americon, and he makes custom clothing. There's a hat over there that he made.
Are you sure he didn't make that shirt? I know it looks like a
I'll
Nike symbol, but like...
He had... for the people. It's just like... He'll find shit at a thrift shop and basically throw paint and stitch shit onto it. But
he's like around here on he's cool. I've seen him around.
He had a shirt that was pure yellow and drew a Homer on it, and it said "No Simp, son."
That's good, dude.
And I'm like, damn, if I would have bought that and then gave it to you today, that would have been legendary.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Instead, I'm a fucking fool and piece of shit. No, man, The Simpsons is a lot of people's first favorite show. It's fucking really entertaining. What's the best seasons of The Simpsons, do you think?
Everybody commonly says that the golden era of the show is season 3 through season 8, which that would have been Mike Reese and Al Jean would have been the early showrunners on that. That would have been for seasons 2, 3, 4, or no, sorry, 3, 4. That would have been David Merkin on 5, Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein on 6, 7, and 8.
And did Matt Groening do anything besides just draw the characters? Is that what
honestly, that's like a really common thing with a lot of these animation shows. Like Groening is example for both The Simpsons and I want to say Futurama, as well as the new one on Netflix. It's got like a D&D vibe. I can't think of what that one's called right now.
Oh, Disenchantment. I love that show.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really know enough to say that entirely, but my vibe is, like, if you create an iconic character with an animation, you can really basically just coast on that for the duration of the show.
That's what fucking happened with Justin Roiland, and I heard in Rick and Morty, he just kind of created the characters and then was never involved in, the writing process, just kind of did the voices.
He just showed up and did the voices and then, harassed people?
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, what a life, dude.
Hell yeah, dude, I would do that.
We're just trying to get famous enough to do that here.
Is there any,
You can tell by your gay flag that you have behind you.
Dude, I don't care about the pride flag. This is the gayest flag there is right here. Don't tread on me, dude. Big old snake.
That's I'm proud of you guys for, usually people only fly that in June.
The real pride flag. I'm fucking stupid. Shit. Is there any popular Simpsons conspiracy theories or anything like that, or any popular fan theories that are out there in the ether.
How much
that you
fanfic
subscribe
have you
to?
written?
The most.
How much Simpsons Rule
fanfic?
34? How much Marge Simpson sucking Peter Griffin's
Bro,
dick have you watched?
that's very real. There is so like when we used to do the podcast, people would send us all sorts of wild shit, and
Miles would look at it for research.
no, yeah, I'm actually the #1 producer of March.
It was in a slideshow in the background of their podcast.
Dude, honestly, it's disturbing because there is I don't give a fuck if you're into the animated characters fucking thing. That's fine. Like, it's honestly not my thing. I promise I've got weird porn history too, but that's just not it.
That's not one of them.
But
Let's get into that.
they're like so much incestuous like Simpsons porn, which is just super.
There's only so many
creepy.
characters.
There's there's really only 4 main characters, and you run out of combinations very quickly. But
just hope Maggie wasn't in any of them.
Ned Flanders is a very popular male
Sexy
stud
Ned.
in the
Stupid,
sexual
sexy
Simpsons
Flanders.
cartoon. Yeah, I mean, big time.
Yeah, he has a big hog in the show. Like
He iconically has a big dick, and he's always like, anytime he takes off his shirt, he's always like ripped and shit. I mean,
Chiseled man.
yeah.
I think as a hardcore Christian, you either have to have a hog or the shrimpiest of shrimpies. I don't think there's a whole lot
There's
of
no middle ground. Yeah,
I don't think so.
the Lord works in extremes.
But aside from the sexual things, was there any popular like fan theories or conspiracy theories?
Most common
or
one is
shit?
that the Simpsons predict everything.
Yeah.
The Simpsons writers have gone on record so many times talking about why it seems that's happening, and it's just because
They've put out
they-
such a volume.
One, it's just the insane volume.
You
Two,
throw in 1,000 darts, some of them are gonna hit.
exactly. And like most of their darts, they admit they usually are coming up with the stupidest possible thing that they can think of, and America just keeps driving that direction. It's not our fault, but like a big one is of course the Trump presidency and whatnot. And they literally in the writers' room at the time that they wrote that episode, there's like, who is the stupidest possible idea of somebody that could legitimately become president? And they're like, Donald Trump has a reality show. And they're like, perfect. That's so fucking stupid. And then, of course, it happens. And that's happened with so many of their iconic jokes and whatnot. But then the other problem is now that people have this concept that the Simpsons predict everything, there's also a lot of fake predictions, and very similar to like Notre Dame, like they're so loosely connected to the truth that like you can really stretch it and make it seem like it's more predictive than it actually is.
I thought it was
Same thing with like those TV psychics.
Yeah,
Like, I
100%.
can't remember who the big one in like the early 2000s one. It was like something
John-
John Edwards.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I also thought that was I'm thinking of John Kerry, the guy who ran for president, but no, it was John Edwards.
John Edwards,
it's just kind of like
John Kerry, though, does seem like he has some psychic ability. Like, not none.
He just has a fucking That's So Raven vision. It's like, I'm going to cheat on my wife.
Dude, that's a great way to pick up chicks at the bar. That's like, whoa, we are gonna like fuck in like an hour.
Yeah, dude, that's like if you throw enough of those darts, one of them's gonna hit.
Well, I also like that episode where the Simpsons predicted 9/11. That was a crazy one. It was in the House of Horrors, dude.
It's kind of wild in general just how much media, when you go back and watch anything set in like the early 90s, before, especially like,
Life imitates art.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, there's the 93 World Trade Center bombing, and I think that kind of inspired people to be like, we're going to show off this architectural genius that, like, defines our skyline. Mm-hmm. So there's so much media from, like, 93 to, like, 99 that just
It was the Twin Tower hype tour.
Yeah. And that thing
they
ended
put out
with
an
a bang, dude.
There's a bunch of like funny, stupid posts. I don't know if they were really fake, but hearing the Biggie lyrics blow up like the World Trade, and they're like, he predicted it, and like not knowing there was a previous
Yeah.
bombing or attack.
Did P. Diddy and Bad Boy Records plan 9/11?
But yeah, we also had a podcast before we did stand up. Surprisingly, I think that's the way to go. I would.
Yeah, you should make all your mistakes live in recording before you try to have a career. Right, Shane Gillis? That's how that goes, well, right?
Hey, that's a very sensitive topic here.
Hey, he just turned SNL down. I think that's a story that did not get enough
Right,
buzz,
to go
man.
To Skankfest.
They offered him. They offered him the president. Yeah, the role of Donald Trump, the presidency. Yeah, the presidential role. No, they offered him season 50, the role of Donald Trump, and he said no to them. And like, come on now, that's baller, dude.
I said no to Miles' favorite president.
Hey, his Trump impression is the best by far.
Oh, for sure.
The gold standard.
He's the one that me and Kyle copy. Like, doing it, like, he's the best one to copy. Some people do, like, the nasally when they're like, I'm President Trump. Like, nah, dude, you gotta be like, I'm fucking stupid. Drunk sounding Trump is the best one. Like,
yeah, he should always sound like he's too deep at happy hour, for sure. Or 7 deep about to do CPR.
It's not the most accurate one. It's just the most like entertaining caricature one. Like when, like back in the day when fucking Will Ferrell was doing what's his fucking name? Not
George Bush.
Yeah, George Bush. It wasn't like super accurate. It was just like caught the essence of his character. And
strategery.
And just fucking Shane being like, he's fucking gay.
So that's actually something that was kind of interesting that I learned from the SNL writers is they get a lot of criticism. I'm sorry, the SNL writers, the Simpsons writers. They get a lot of criticism because a lot of times when they will attack Democratic politicians, it feels a lot more personal and like they're attacking them like in their personal life versus like anytime they're doing the Republicans, which the Simpsons are famously making fun of everyone, much like South Park. But the Republican policies typically are a lot more essentially making a caricature of them, roastable, if you will. So they got a lot of flack because a lot of times, even though everyone there is very left-leaning, they sometimes feel like they're attacking Democratic politicians at a very uncomfortably personal level. It's like, we didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, I've never been less envious than I am of the people of SNL currently because, like, the politicians, there's not, like, a whole lot you can make fun. I mean, Joe Biden, you could just make, like, sleepy and old jokes, but then they had Jim Carrey do them, and he was just like, I'm Joe Biden. Like,
yeah, that was Jim Carrey is Joe Biden on Adderall. It's like that's not gonna work.
If Jim Carrey doing Joe Biden is like if Joe Biden and Hunter started doing some of the same hobbies.
I think he got the misfortune of timing, because can you imagine Jim Carrey as Kamala Harris? That'd be crazy.
I want to see Jim Carrey playing all of the cabinet members at the same time. Like, I want to see he's playing both Trump, Kamala, and both their VPs.
And Tim Walz.
Yeah. Can I trade you this empty for a full one, please, sir? Oh, thanks, dude.
Guess what flavor?
Oh, shit. How nice.
Playing musical
bits.
beers. Oh, whatever you want to fucking do, dude. I don't.
Give me a different one. Okay. Give me another one that's not a wild cherry.
All right, we are doing a musical beers segment.
That is a very medicine-y taste. You're not wrong, yeah.
You're welcome.
Why did they get the other flavors so right and this one so wrong?
No seltzer has nailed a wild cherry to this day. I handed a girl a white cherry.
That's why it's called wild cherry, dude.
I handed a girl a black cherry White Claw one time, and she said, "Ooh, this tastes like a cigarillo," and handed it back to me.
I like black cherry White Claw.
I don't mind any alcohol because I am straight.
Wow. Don't tread on his AA meeting, dude.
Oh, fuck. So, wrapping up the Simpsons bit, what are your favorite things about the Simpsons? What are your least favorite things about the Simpsons, would you say?
Probably my least favorite thing about The Simpsons is the fact that it's been on so long that it's inevitably going to be the test subject for just having AI take over a show. It has so much line of dialogue for so much time that I feel like they could plug that into a computer and pretty easily start producing AI episodes. I mean, they've already toyed with it as a joke. They were one of the
South Park
had that too. Yeah. Simpsons did something similar. Not the South Park episode of the AI episode was fantastic.
I liked it.
Yeah, that was really good and scary. But yeah. Man, it's hard for me to say, like, a favorite. It's, like, literally, My favorite thing about The Simpsons is that I got to grow up at a time that it was kind of sliding under the radar.
When you were growing up with it, were your parents like, because with us in Family Guy or South Park, our parents were kind of, or like, I don't know about Kyle, but my parents were like kind of like concerned about me watching it, which made me want to watch it twice as much and like sneak into my room to watch it or watch with my older sister.
That was
so
me
was
and Beavis
Simpsons
and
the
Butthead.
same thing? Beavis and Butthead, that's what I heard, but Simpsons wasn't like that?
No, so Simpsons tends to have like two main camps of people, and it was one that parents just kind of like assumed because it was a cartoon, it was fine. And that was definitely my parents' camp. Like, they were just like, yeah, whatever, he can watch it, it's a cartoon. And Bart Simpson was like my idol at like 6. Literally.
Miles, Eat My Shorts, Francis.
So, Kyle's seen this. My 6th birthday party, I have a picture of me wearing a Bart Simpson's like Halloween mask and a t-shirt standing in my neighborhood. I love that picture for a lot of reasons, but you'll see it at some point, I promise. But it's like that's how like big of a deal Bart Simpson was to me at 6, which is unreasonable considering the subject matter of that show. But like, there's a lot. I was born in '85, and that was like a lot of people were like that. That show started the Christmas of '89 was the first episode when that came out. Literally, the only episode that came out in '89 was episode 1, and then every episode after that was in 1990 and beyond. So, I mean, for me, it was basically on the air since I was 5 years old or younger, and it just was part of the building blocks of my sense of humor. So, it's almost like a weird coded language sometimes, too. Like, you will make jokes that are 100% like Simpsons references, and you will see people that like are at the bar or whatever, like they'll like perk up and they'll like even respond in like Simpsonese back at you.
Simpsonese. And with that, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. Y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of Miles Francis. Welcome back to a very special and gay episode of the Iron Thomas Show.
Bigger
I like to think of it as gay and special.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
fruity little boat.
Now, we're here with Miles Francis yet again. Miles, do you want to talk about your employment, how you are employed by just a smorgasbord of gigs, I would call it?
Not really. But no, I mean, not like I don't. It's just like, it's just a lot to think about.
Think right now.
Well, you do stand up. You work for like a bicycle bar placement. We can cut this all out.
I don't have any problem. Yeah, I'll go through it. Let's see. I do the party bikes, which honestly, shout out to Dallas Party Bike. I love that dude. His name is Sean. He runs the spot. I suggest any personable stand-up comedian that's looking for like an easy side gig. That's like a good one. And Sean like will always go to bat for people, so that's cool.
You hear that? Insert broke-ass comedian's name here.
Yeah, everyone fucking DFW. But yeah, I also do murder mystery dinner shows, like murder mystery events, I guess I should say. They're not usually actually always dinners, but I teach scuba diving, is a big one. That's a primary gig of mine. I work for a company that, I'm trying to remember what like the cool term that I would put on a resume is. Corporate responsibility resources, I want to say.
I hate that.
Basically, I'm not going to name any names on this one, but big companies that have like more money than morals like can basically pay a company to like give them like a really photogenic like charitable opportunity.
Basically, okay, what he's trying to say is basically what they do is they go in there and they say, this is what you don't do, and then they have Miles go in and do a poo voice for 30 minutes.
He is great at. Just
Yeah, you know what? Some of the harsh truths just come better from a poo. It's the facts of the matter.
And then afterwards they say, thank you, come again.
Yeah, every time.
there we go. Yep.
Same thing in the bedroom, folks. It's just get out of here. Thank you. Come again.
No. Have you witnessed anything crazy? Like, what happens with these bicycle bars, dude? What?
Has anyone fucking fallen and hits like
Right,
with
like,
their head
have you
open?
not seen anybody fall off of the bicycle bar? How do you cut people?
I've definitely seen people fall off. Luckily, I have not had any major like accidents on my bikes, but people have hurt themselves because you can if you're that drunk, and a lot of people do get that drunk. Honestly, the craziest thing though is like, honestly, most of my customers very cool. I tell them
You get a
straight up
couple
front,
promises
I
every now
don't
and
care
then.
if like you're rowdy, as long as there's like a couple of things you just cannot do, and as long as you don't do those couple of things, like I truly do not give a shit how you turn up.
If you pedal backwards, he'll strike you.
If you do drugs, just share them off camera with me. Tips are often pretty cool on that gig, but and by that I mean not always in cash, but no, they're great. But yeah,
Take multiple
there's
different
like
forms of-
basically there is craziness, but like ultimately they're adults having fun, and I like to believe that most adults having fun, if you tell them up front, like, hey, I want you to have all the fun, and you just can't do one of these like 3 things, unless you're not like you're immediately gonna be like, I'm doing all 3 of them, but like everybody else is gonna be like, okay, I can have a good time under those parameters. I have quite a few friends that really prefer rules, actually. I don't know.
A lot's happening.
I get paranoid.
Okay.
One of those, did I leave the oven on? It's like, did I press play?
I do that every time. But
time.
it's just to prevent a jelly mistake. Nah.
We've been hurt before.
We have been hurt before. What are the 3 things you recommend against? What are 3 things people can't do at the bicycle bar?
I don't even know if it's actually 3. Let me think real quick. The big one that people do is I just say just don't jump off the bike while it's moving. That's like the biggest one. If you drop shit, like I will stop in the middle of traffic. I don't give a fuck. But just like wait till I stop. We'll get your shit and then we'll go, because that's really the only way people actually ever get hurt. And then I think it's really only 2 rules that I have. Oh yeah, I'll think of a 3rd. I got it. So yeah, second rule is like the frame of it is not as strong as it looks. So like you cannot hang from it. It will not hold you. So like if you try to like start like pole dancing, I point out to the poles in which pole dancing can be done safely. And then finally, my last one is like you read the waiver. If you're gonna do any of the shit that they explicitly said not to do, don't do it on fucking camera. And that's my rules for having fun.
And the 4th rule, don't do drugs without me.
Off camera.
Off camera. Mind you.
I was going to say your tips, you'll accept multiple forms of green and white.
And pink.
Wow, you are addicted, bro.
Nah. What's the scuba diving gig like? How's it like training people to see underwater flora and fauna?
It's cool, man. It's a cool gig. I think that my biggest problem with scuba like dive instructing is that like most of the people that are scuba dive instructors honestly kind of suck. Like,
That, and you also had a bunch of trouble trying to turn a snorkel into a bong, I heard.
I've done some pretty wild shit with a snorkel, actually. We can talk. I've got pictures of that, weirdly.
They call you the puffer fish.
Oh my god. Or in Kyle's case, a blowfish. What? Let's go back to the white joke.
Dude. What all places has that brought you to? Have you been to like...
I've been to a lot of cool places. I've been to Mexico like a bunch of times. I'm going back to teach scuba diving actually in November.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Cozumel to teach, which I've been to a few times. I've been to Roatan, Honduras, which is really sick. Probably the coolest place I've ever been was Fiji. I went to Fiji, which honestly...
What all were you seeing down there?
Sharks. Tiger sharks was the big one. I touched a 16-foot tiger shark that was approximately the size of a like Volkswagen bus.
And when you were fingering this shark...
No, we turned a new page, dude. Chill.
We're getting wild.
What kind of shark was it?
Tiger shark.
Ah,
It's a big-ass shark, dude.
the freakiest of the sharks.
I don't know, man. I think that's a hammerhead, dude. They can do a lot.
It had a fucking license plate in its belly and a full set of knuckles in its fucking ass.
No, dude, honestly, Fiji was wild.
So when you were fisting this tiger shark in Fiji...
That's like called a Fijian handshake there. If you look on the Fiji water bottle, you can actually see a diver just fucking elbow deep in a tiger shark.
After you drink the water, dude. It's one of those holograms. How is Fiji? What was that like a fucking super foreign experience? Were you in like huts that were on the fucking water?
Yeah, pretty much. No, not huts. I mean, they were like structures, but like they weren't like they weren't like little grass huts or anything, but like they were small structures that were like literally on the island, like edge of the island.
Is that not terrifying?
No, it was awesome.
What if the fucking ocean has a problem with you?
I'll tell you, dude. If you think like if the ocean has a problem with you, like you think me being like mid island or close, like it doesn't
You think
matter.
me smoking
man.
mids on an island matters?
Yeah, I feel like if like the ocean decides you're gonna die, like you're dead, dude.
That's true. You just have to surrender yourself to Poseidon.
I don't even think like you could survive in Kansas against the ocean. Like it would find a way.
Literally, dude. All you have to do is fist the nearest tiger shark and ensure your life while it lasts, dude. You're
Hey, dude.
short aquatic life.
Life is short, dude. What else you gonna fist?
Life is short. Fist a tiger shark.
Or a tiger
Oh.
if you're afraid of water. You got options.
What are your other favorite aquatic creatures that you've seen, dude?
Turtles for sure, dude.
The
I love
big
turtles.
ass loggerhead sea turtles.
Like those giant sea turtles, yeah. They're
600-pound
cool.
bastards.
I've got like some pretty cool pics where I'm like face to face. I just was on this dive. This was in Cozumel, and this sea turtle just Rotan. This was in Rotan. The sea turtle just basically like stayed with us the entire dive. And I didn't look at anything. I was just watching this turtle the whole time. I was mesmerized. And at one point we were just like face to face, and it was like we were both just kind of like peeping each other, and it was super fucking cool.
And then Miles was like,
Fisting
it's fisting
turtle.
time.
I tried to. The shell really gets in the way. It's like fucking with a condom. It's just not worth it.
You so totally rock, Miles.
Is that your crutch?
I mean, you know.
Cocaine dude.
Oh, dude. You fist one turtle, you fisted them all, I say.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, shit.
Turtle power.
You also used to do the Alamo Draft House gigs before they so kindly went out of business.
They're back in business, but they let this really shitty trivia company take over their movie hosting gigs.
Name names.
Awesome. I'm not. I might have to settle for a gig with them when ends are short 1 month. So no. I've worked with them before. I'll probably work with them again.
We're clipping this.
But anyway, Alamo Draft House movie parties used to be awesome because it was like they were done with love, from the theater themselves. They would basically do is not like super great cosplay, but I'd like try to dress in theme with like the movie you're hosting.
Yeah, you did like the Barbie movie. You did what else?
I didn't do Barbie. I did Mean Girls.
You did Mean Girls.
I did Mean Girls. Yeah, that was actually a really fun one. I've done Back to the Future, The Mummy,
you did Black
Elf
Panther
several times. I didn't do Black Panther. I did do Trolls the band Back Together for kids, which ended up being a good time because I mean they were just like super enthusiastic
and hot.
That was the only time I did that. It was like 11 in the morning. Like I think it was like 10:40, and I'm not even usually up at that hour, so I had to like be like really high energy at like that hour. It was weird, honestly, based on what I usually do. But it was a really good time.
Do you like violence?
I did just stick 9-inch nails through each one of my eyelids. It really wakes you up.
How did the movie theater shows go? Did you like do shit up top and then the movie showed and then you did shit at the end, or did
Not even, dude.
Did you interrupt it every 20 minutes and be like, "Hey guys"?
Yeah, it's pop up with me, bitches.
Or you did. What did they say?
The best ones was usually I just kick off with like a greeting. I talk about the movie, its history a little bit, like why people love it. We have a little bit of like trivia sometimes. We did games sometimes. We always had party favors, kind of like if you've ever gone to not those. Like if you've ever gone to a Rocky Horror Picture showing and like you get all the cool stuff you're supposed to like interact with. It was kind of like that. We had like little props that you get that you're supposed to interact with the movie during. And then finally, I would do a toast of some sort from usually a line from the movie, and then kick off the show. And then the cool thing is, I get paid regardless, but I could either stay and watch the movie, or I could leave and be on with it. And I mean, admittedly, I never signed up for a movie that I didn't love doing. Like, they were all movies that I genuinely enjoy.
Especially Trolls 2.
Except for Trolls 2.
That
one was the special one because they paid you extra to go that early.
I did like the bit that you did during Trolls 2 where you covered yourself in coconut oil and tried to fucking slip and slide down a row of, I don't want to say kindergartners, but I don't know what else to call them.
I don't want to see your Pornhub.
Good luck getting a fucking job with the trivia company now. I'm cutting all this.
Those days are over. True or false, this podcast was a good decision.
Dude, have fun hitting rock bottom doing trivia with the chive, dude. You fucking...
That's the worst part about
Baked
doing
potato.
a trivia night is you are competing with like Chive TV or ridiculousness, and it's just like I think they would be having just as much fun if it weren't for that.
At Outfit Brewery at an open mic one night, they had Chive TV playing on a drop down screen on a projector behind the comedians.
Oh my god!
It was the most brutal. I narrated it because I'm like, you
can't compete. That's the smart
There's
move.
babies doing backflips, dude. I don't know what else.
Yeah, that's when it turns into Murder Science Theater 3000.
Murder Science.
Wait, Mystery Science. My
No,
bad.
it turns
You never
into
watched
murder.
the R-rated version of that? Yeah,
show.
that show fucking killed, man. That was great.
So what were your other jobs? Fucking sex trafficking, the other one?
Making snack cakes.
I do production assistance for like sometimes, mostly commercials, more often photography, occasionally like TV or movies. I've got to meet. One time I got to drive Patrick Mahomes around on set. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was fun. I also just did this really weird infomercial for these like beet-based health gummies. Essentially, we were at some mansion in Southlake, and some like TV personality from like Fox News like came in and essentially like
Dan
pretended it was her house. I was like that judge lady that pisses people off. But yeah, apparently no, the one that's on Fox News.
Oh, Steve Harvey.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly. Number one answer says but no, like they basically.
I would probably address it by saying
He has a show where he's a judge now.
Judge Harvey?
Yeah,
Steve
but
Harvey.
Damn, dude, what a tough draw that is.
It's great.
But yeah, this is like just one of those infomercials that you'd see like in the middle of like, I don't know, like 4 a.m. on like some station no one watches, and it's like just the stupidest thing. But yeah, this lady was just like pretending this was her house and talking how important these gummies she's never had are.
Just like Alex Jones, like, it's the colloidal silver and it's the power that beats.
Yeah. That was a really weird one because so before the talent, the lady arrived on set, her assistant showed up and came through and just specifically talked to everyone. She's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna say names again. I might have to work for her again." But
I'm not gonna say names. I'll replace them with slurs.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, this lady her assistant came in and was just like, she's very sensitive to political discussion, so we don't want anybody having any political discussion on set today, which is like, nobody would do that. Like, if you never came through and said anything, like, that's like a pretty common, like no one's gonna bring that up out of the blue. It was the weirdest thing. That was our introduction to her.
So Miles, the comedian, naturally, as soon as they walked in, he just fist up, said, "Fight the power."
Yeah. I was wearing my MACA shirt, Make America Kamala Again. I don't know.
I got vaccinated with heroin.
Dude, it kills as much COVID as actual vaccination did, right?
Take that, Pfizer.
Wow, you can afford Pfizer?
Oh, dude. So your 8th job is a professional butter churner. How did that...
I don't think I'm cut out for churning butter, dude.
And also as a beer maiden for Oktoberfest.
When you have a fucking slog in each hand, I think they call them slogs. When you have a slog in each hand, no better feeling. That's our police honorable break. I don't know.
Oh, I thought the show hired a DJ on the break.
So you've been doing stand-up for a while now, bro.
Depressing amount of time.
What is the craziest thing you've seen happen whilst on stage in the audience or?
Saw a dude get stabbed.
Oh shit!
Jesus.
Yeah.
How was that? Was it George Lopez?
You got the first name right.
Oh.
I'm not gonna say more. It was that dude was producing the show out in Forney, Texas. If y'all are familiar with Forney, there's only like one bar there. It's a nice house, but yeah. My clue that it was gonna be a good night. I'll have to find the sign, but there's this like ridiculous sign that basically talks specifically about like not trying to flush your like snooze packets essentially. Like I think they're called Zins now, but back then snus or snooze maybe.
Yeah,
Snuff. All
I
that.
remember.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't during like my set, but it was a show that I was on, and during like the features set, for lack of a better word, on the show, this dude, like, they had been getting into it, the two people next to each other, and this guy drew a knife and tried to like stab the guy, and ended up getting arrested mid-show. It was wild.
Holy shit!
I also, the crazy thing that happened to me on stage was I was doing a show at a dispensary opening in southern Oklahoma.
Very on brand.
Very on brand. Dude, this place had a dab bar. It was rad. I am on stage, and somebody at the dab bar literally just collapses. This was like probably 3.5 minutes into my set. And it was like right after that like Travis Scott thing had happened, I think, or somewhere around there. But like so here's the other fun thing about that one is I was about to go on stage, like this was half an hour before I went on stage or so. Somebody came around with cupcakes and they said they were 40 milligrams each. So I took 2 of them. They were 400 milligrams each. So I am high as a motherfucking kite on stage, and this fucking dude collapses. He has a seizure. I think he literally just hit too many dabs, but they had to carry his ass out and put him in an ambulance. And I was on stage for all of this, and then they had me finish my set. It was insanity.
I also just like to imagine you like getting handed both cupcakes at a time and not even eating one at a time, but just
I hadn't eaten is the thing. Like we didn't stop. Like they had like little like everything they had there was fucking edible.
I ate the cupcakes for sustenance.
I was hungry, and like we had been hitting like we were high as fuck, dude. Like this was a celebration of marijuana at a place where it was just recently legal. Like
when I was in college, a girl hit a dab in my friend's apartment, and she and her friend immediately go to the bathroom, and you just see a fucking puddle come from out the bottom of the door, and she like it hit the floor and just pissed herself. Which better than what happened at the fucking dab arena.
He was alright. I mean, like both people.
How did you continue? Well, first of all,
did they have you continue doing comedy through all?
I want to go back.
No. I stopped. Like we stopped. Like while we got him out, and then they had me go back on stage and finish my set.
He's doing crowd work while the guy's on the floor. So where are you from?
I'm just talking to the paramedics.
No.
So what's the deal with head injuries?
What do you do for a living? I'm an EMT. No. What happened during when somebody was stabbed during your set?
It was at a just shithole place, dude, and they like literally altercation just broke out and
Did
guy
the
pulled
show
out
not end at that moment?
No, because they literally had security in the room. They just pulled both people out and they kept going.
After a stabbing.
Successful?
It was like more of a swipe, but I don't know what qualifies. What qualifies as a stabbing? Because there was contact made lightly with a blade to like
and then blood.
person. Yeah,
I would count that as a stabbing and not a swiping, but I don't know the legal.
But like, it wasn't like penetration with like squirts of blood coming out. It was like a really bad nick if you cut yourself shaving.
Well, I think I can speak for all of us. When you see a stabbing, you want to see penetration and squirts rather than just a little swipe and a little dribble, you know?
Yeah. Literally, if you're ever on Pornhub and you're just stuck, just Google or type in anything that you've heard on this podcast. It's gonna
type in penetration and squirt and not fucking slash and dribble, dude, or whatever. The swipe.
Hey, no judgment. You type whichever you're into.
No.
People are freaks these days.
See, I've never seen security work that well at all in the comedy club to where they could pull somebody out.
This was not a comedy club. This was an ice
bar,
house.
Yeah, good point.
This was a place that definitely knew that security was necessary.
This was like one of the only places that you could get alcohol in that city.
They specialize in stabbings.
Yeah. They advertise like stabbings and like 29-degree beer right on the outside of the wall.
Now, when this person busted ass in a weed bar, are they falling off a full like stool? Are they?
No, they were like standing up against the bar and they just like went out for the count, like, and they just kind of like crumpled, and then they started convulsing because they were having seizures. Again, honestly, I think it's like. It sounds terrible, but I think if you're somebody that has seizures, this was like a mild seizure. So like, but it was just scary for all these stoned ass fucking people at a grand opening of a dispensary.
Miles was simultaneously acting like he was doing spells on him. He was like, "Mama say, Mama sa, Mama kusa, Mama say, Mama sa."
I was actually frisking him to see if he had any weed on him, and he wasn't gonna miss. We all got free samples. I know you got some extra in there, motherfucker.
You can't take them with you to the hospital. I know that.
Yeah, you don't want to check it in. I got you. I'm doing you a favor.
It's like the soldiers that are scavenging the wounded other ones for ammo and shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to say. I'm sorry.
Dude, if we have to stop and do that for every weird thing that we say on this show, we're not going to get done tonight, so you're good.
It's alright, I got a blanket for you.
I would have apologized a lot more if I assumed anybody was going to listen to this.
At least 81 people, 84 on the last one, so there will be at least 40 comics in Dallas. Now, what's the best show you've ever performed on? I've heard you opened for Christina P.
Christina P was great. Honestly, though, it's one of my most recent. I got to open for Jason Mewes at the Action Improv like a couple of weeks ago. And I've been a big fan of Jay and Silent Bob and Kevin Smith and the whole View Askew universe or whatever. Jay Mewes for like ever. Like I love Clerks and Chasing
I always
Amy.
wondered why they
Mallrats
called you Miles Smoochy Boochie Francis.
Snoogans. But no, so the thing that was really cool with this guy is that like with so many people, especially anybody in entertainment, anyone that performs on a regular basis, there's so many people that have like a stage persona, and then they're a different person in the green room, and they're a different person in front of a like crowd off stage. Jason Mewes, I don't think, and I mean this not in a mean way, but I don't think he's capable of doing it. He is so genuinely himself that he can't just help but just be himself, and that's what's so endearing about him, and that's what makes his characters so fun to watch and like make you connect with him, because he's the exact same person in the green room as he is in front of his fans, as he is on stage performing, as he is on TV and movies, and that was just really, really cool. Really silly thing about him that just made me laugh so hard is he started doing this thing a few shows ago because he said that his merch like didn't arrive. So he just did like a doodle in the green room and he auctioned it off. He auctioned it off to the crowd and like made a couple $100, and he was so excited about it. So he's just been doing it ever since. So the night that I'm there, he auctions this drawing he did off, and he drew it like on the plane on the way to the show or whatever. Somebody bid $500 for it and gave him $500. And when we got back to the green room after the show, this fucker was so excited. He's like, "Bro, I can't believe I just made $500 off of this drawing." And it's like, I didn't remind him, but I was like, I don't think he remembers that he has like a lot of fucking money. like not that like you can't still be excited about $500, but he was as excited as any of the three of us would have been about selling somebody a piece of paper for $500. We'd all just be through the roof. Shots are on me. $500 gone. But he was just like, again, somebody who's probably got an easy 6 figures in the bank, no problem, and he's so ecstatic about $500. I find that endearing.
And that made you treat him the way you did a tiger shark or a...
You know what's funny is when we took our selfie together in the green room, we both said dicks out at the same time. So, you know.
Hell yeah, that sounds like a dope expression. Now, let's go the other way. What's the fucking worst show you've ever had? How far have you driven out?
That stabbing one was pretty bad.
No, stabbing... I would rather somebody get stabbed, because there's some shows I've heard people do where they drive like 4 or 5 hours to perform in front of like 3 people. I would rather somebody get stabbed.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's a way more memorable story. I've got at least 2 on this one.
Let's go.
One of the worst ones that I've ever had was I went to a place in Waco that was called True Loves, I want to say. I think they still might do it.
It was called the First Branch Davidians.
Yeah, they were not a receptive crowd.
You ever heard of these ATF guys? They're fucking dickheads.
What's the deal with rifles?
What's the
No, but this was just some. This is just some bar. We actually finished that.
Why did Kyle start with the fucking crazy blackface voice?
What? I was doing Seinfeld.
Wait, what?
Oh, it didn't sound
Same
like
thing.
Seinfeld. You were like, man, the band video.
What is the deal? That's what I was doing.
All right, let's be in the middle. You're Kramer.
I'm gonna edit all that out. No.
But this is like just some bar or restaurant in the middle of Waco. And it was one of my first times to get a 10-minute set. So I drive. This was a almost 2-hour drive to do 10 minutes, which I decided to open making fun of Waco. I thought in a very fun and light way, but the people of Waco apparently were not on board with this joke, or I did not deliver it in a manner that made them feel good about it. Because I basically just made a joke about how, like, what is Waco, and it's like a speed trap on your way to Dallas or Austin. And, like, that just, like, pissed these people off. So I just sat up there. I did 10 minutes of jokes to 0 laughs at any point. Just judgmental looks. At the very end of my set, a group of, like, 4 people walked in, sat in the very back, and lightly chuckled because they didn't know they were supposed to hate me. But and that was at like my closer, like so, like it was bad. And then I had to just drive that same hour, 2 hours, or hour and a half, 2 hours home. Similar story. I went and did a show at the Tower City Comedy Club out in Paris, Texas. It was for the guy who runs it out there. He was basically coming off of a surgery, and like it was more like the town like welcoming him like home sort of show. But it was just me opening for him, and then this
on
guy
stage with an iron lung, and it was a roast.
Dude, I did. This wasn't even that long ago. This was this year. This was this year. I went out there and I did 20 minutes, and it was just the most judgmental group of old white farmers that just ever lived. Like the people of Paris, Texas, as you might expect, are just
They could have used some Disney Plus.
Yeah, for sure. But they were not with me even a little bit. And then the other one that still just sticks with me to this day, it was in March of 2020.
They're all this year. Oh, no.
March of 2020, which was both almost
During
exactly 1 year into me doing comedy and a couple of like days or the day that COVID happened. And I got my very first out-of-town gig, my very March 13th, and that's my comedy anniversary. March 13th is my comedy anniversary.
Holy shit!
So it'll be 6 years this March, but at that time it was 1 year into comedy, and I got my very first out-of-town gig. I was going to be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock, Arkansas.
That's hot.
And
friend of the show.
I drive all the way to our friend's house in Little Rock, and literally as I'm pulling into Little Rock, I get a call from the producer. Hey man, we just got the call. The club's being shut down. There's not going to be a show tonight. That one hurt.
What, you just like hit a 180 and went back home after driving for 2 hours?
I had friends out in Little Rock that I was planning on visiting anyway, so there was some comfort to the fact that the drive wasn't for nothing. But and that in terms of like my feelings at that time, it was not going well for Mr. Most Days Off.
At least you had friends in Little Rock, then.
Yeah, no, they're cool. They're cool people.
Friends of the show.
Of course, yeah. They don't get reception to podcasts in Little Rock, but if they did, they would totally listen. The internet's going to get there any day now. I know it.
We'll end on a high note, dude. How do you feel about local legend Moo Dang, the hippopotamus?
The hippopotamus?
Are you part of the Moodang clan? Wait.
I wasn't aware of Moodang until they did that SNL
with.
sketch a while back on Weekend Update. So I think that the hippopotamus doesn't get enough credit for being terrifying. I'll go that far. You ever see Congo? The scariest part of Congo by far has nothing to do with the gorillas. It's that scene with the hippopotamus, man. That shit will fuck you up.
But Moodang's a little baby, sexy little hippo.
Baby
dude.
now, but they all grow into
It's a
monsters one
pygmy
day.
hippo, though. It's not a real. They don't get full size.
Oh.
It's a pocket hippo.
Do they have their own sect of wrestlers, strippers, and other
The thing that scares me about Moodang is she's adorable, but it's too sexy. Like, a Japanese businessman is gonna fuck this animal.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm terrified of what kind of spit roast
She's
he's
like
gonna
the
use
pocket
it for.
pussy of little hippos.
you know what? Actually, last time I was at Sarah's Secret, I was wondering what that was, but now I recognize it.
Like, she's only 75 pounds.
Do you subscribe to your OnlyFans?
No! I just look at how
It's common knowledge.
I don't think she's fuckable. I think she's a little cute, but I know there's some people out there.
Give it a year.
Dude, she's in Thailand right now. You don't think anybody in Thailand wants to fuck a hippopotamus that's a pygmy, that's a little legend? A little legendary pygmy hippopotamus, a little shiny Pokemon?
So,
don't
Lady
think
Boy's
anybody-
do your duty, protect that hippo at all costs.
I think she should have armed guards around her hippopotamus. Her little hippopussy. I don't think... There's gonna be a British guy that's vacationing in Thailand. He's overdosed on lady boys. He's already met his little fucking fill. And then he sees a shiny ass little baby hippopotamus. And he goes,
Yeah, what is he supposed to do? Not take a Cialis that day? Like, come on.
they shoot tigers, these British guys. They kill endangered
I didn't know this show had
species.
so much anti-British sentiment.
Yes, we hate the British, dude. Don't tread on me.
Back to the gay
All
flag,
right,
folks. For the
and
perfect
we're gonna
circle.
after that we're gonna. Miles, do you have any plugs?
You want to associate yourself with anything
Yeah.
related to this?
Yeah, don't use any facial recognition software to figure out who I am now. You can follow me at Mr. Mo Stays Off everywhere online. Come see me do comedy. I'm actually not usually this offensive. You guys bring out the best in me.
We hear that all the time.
If you need to get drunk on a bicycle, if you need
If you need to go in the ocean,
to
I
fist
assume
a tiger
I'm
shark,
fired from all of these jobs now, by the way. You guys know what that's about.
if you need to see Trolls 2 in theaters, if you need to, what was the other one? Oh, get your butter churned. Contact Miles Francis. This has been the Kyle Aaron Thomas.
butter for the rest of the show.
This has been the Kyle and not Aaron Thomas show. Fuck Aaron.